guys, welcome to Investigate with Kate. Today I'm here with Steve Schneider at WAFB. Can you describe your job using an 80s song?
Wow. Was running on empty in the 80s? I think that's a good description. You know why? Because we can never get to all the stories that we want to cover. So we're always running, but we can't get to everything.
What made you want to become a sport?
I was flunking out of engineering. True story. I think what made me want to do this, my dad was an engineer, and he was very successful, right? He was a good dad, good husband, good provider, but he didn't really like his job that much. God blessed me with certain abilities, but he also gave me certain people in my life who helped me along the way, right? Because you need people to mentor you and teach you and show you the ropes. And I've tried to do that to other people since I got this job. Because if there are other people out there who think they can do this, I want to help them do the same thing. Like you.
I'm 9 years old and very interested in a career in television. What advice would you give your 9-year-old self?
Ooh, that's a good one. I guess if I was advising a 9-year-old, it would be to not think that you need to just focus on one thing. Right? Like 9's pretty early to commit to just one thing. Try to practice the things that you obviously know you're going to need to do, which is write a script or talk on a camera or be a good listener. People think, oh, it's just about me talking. I got to talk this way and I got to say these things. But one of the most important things in our profession is listening. Listening to what people have to say.
Can you tell me about your favorite story that you've
Well, I've probably, hundreds of thousands of stories I've probably done over my career. But if I had to say one was my favorite, it would probably be the Saints winning the Super Bowl. You know who the Saints are?
Yes.
Okay.
They are a professional football.
Correct. And when I was 8, Kate, our family moved to Mississippi. And that's the same year the Saints started. So way before I got into TV or broadcasting or reporting, I was a kid who liked sports and liked the professional football team that came to New Orleans called the Saints. And they were so bad. And then years and years and years later, after they lost and lost and lost and lost, I got into broadcasting. I ended up covering the team, both in college and in TV. And lo and behold, they became a winning team. And they went to the Super Bowl, and it was Miami, Florida. They played the Colts, whose quarterback was from New Orleans, right? So on the last day of interviews, before they played that game, the person who was in charge of the Colts interviews was my college classmate, my buddy. And in front of thousands of people in the room, he said, the last question for Peyton Manning, who's this famous football player, is Steve Schneider from WAFB. And nobody in the room knew who that was. They were like, who? But it was my buddy giving me a chance to ask the question. And do you know, on the game that Sunday, the Saints were winning the game. It was the fourth quarter. And usually, if you're from a TV station like WAFB, you sit in the stands, and when the game's almost over, they put you in an interview room. You don't ever go on the field or close to the action. But this particular game, they invited us all to come on the field. And when we got on the field, there were about 7 minutes left in the game, and Peyton Manning was going that way with his team. And everybody thought that he was going to throw like the winning touchdown pass. And I was standing at the other end, and you know what happened? He threw an interception. You know who caught that ball? His name's Tracy Porter. Somebody that I covered when he was in high school. Somebody who I was at his family's house when the Saints called and picked him to be with the Saints. He went to college in Indiana, which is right where the Colts are. But right now, he intercepts that ball, and he runs straight to me, He scores a touchdown, and then what does he do with the ball when he scores a touchdown? He throws the ball on the ground. And you know where it went? It bumped my toe. Right there on the field. Now, I wasn't supposed to be on the field, but somebody somehow put me in that position to be there for that play. And it was the winning play of the game, and the Saints won the Super Bowl. That crummy team that I cheered as a boy won the Super Bowl, and I was there to cover it.
What has been the craziest thing that's happened to you?
This is an easy answer. It's a football game. So back in the year 2000, LSU hired a coach named Nick Saban. Have you ever heard of him?
I have heard of Alabama. And there's an entire Bama hate week thing, and I'm obsessed with it.
Well, he used to be the coach at LSU, and he came in and he immediately made a bad team pretty good. So good, in fact, that I was covering a game one night, and when LSU won the game in overtime, the fans stormed the field. And I was on live TV holding my microphone, and I was reporting on what had happened. And when the people stormed the field, guess what happened? They picked me up and carried me off to where my mic unplugged on live television, and all of a sudden nobody could hear me anymore because I just disappeared. Is that crazy enough?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I made up a Bama hate week joke. Nick Saban helps kids cheat on tests, but gives them the wrong answer. How has technology changed? How has technology or social media changed how you do your job?
I'll give you just one example because it's kind of funny. So when we do a Friday night high school football show, we send cameras out all over the place. It's called Sports Line Friday Night. We've done it for 34 years. And when we started, the cameras had tapes in them. So you put the tape in the camera and you record the game. But people we sent out had to do 2 or 3 games. Like they might do the first half of one game, the second half of another game. They might even catch the third game at the very end if they get an exciting finish, right? But when we used tape, we only had like 1 or maybe 2 machines that you could edit and pick out only the good plays that you wanted and send them in fast enough to get them on the show. So do you know what we did to make sure we got enough plays back? The people who weren't shooting, the producers, the anchors, we would tell them, hey, drop that tape off at the McDonald's, and then we'll drive through the drive-thru and we'll get a hamburger and we'll get the tape and we'll bring it back so that we can get that story ready while you go cover another story. That's what we used to have to do to get all those games on the show.
So you dropped it off at McDonald's?
I didn't. I would pick it up. So I get the ice cream and I get to eat the French fries. The other person would just drop the tape off and then go do some more work. So it was a pretty good deal for me. So now we have something called FTP, File Transfer Protocol. And this is all connected to the internet, right? Like when the internet came along, all of a sudden we could get statistics, we could get live updates, but the main thing for us to get that video is that they could now shoot on a camera that records files. They could pick the files they want on their laptop, and they can push a button and boom, that video comes straight to the station. And they could be in Mississippi, or they could be in New Orleans, or Lafayette, or wherever. And all they have to do is do it on their laptop and hit a button, and boom, the video's here in Baton Rouge, and we're on the air with it. That's just one of lots of changes, but that's probably the biggest difference, is that we can literally send stories back from anywhere.
Thank you all for watching Investigate with Kate, and thank you for letting me interview you.
You're welcome, Kate. Anytime.